Innovation in Real Places. Strategies for Prosperity in an Unforgiving World. Written by Dan Breznitz. Published by Oxford University Press.
I'm a professor at the University of Toronto, where I'm also the co-director of Innovation Policy Lab and a co-director fellow of CIFAR, the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, program on innovation, equity, and the future of prosperity. I wrote a book called Innovation in Real Places. And I wrote it because I got very frustrated and angry about both the public and academic debate about innovation, growth, and equity. So in the writing, in the book, in the research, there's three things that really surprised me because, you sort of think that they're obvious, but they're not. One, we have a completely mixed up, especially in Canada, but almost everywhere, between invention and innovation, which leads to horrible policy decisions. Second, most people think that there's only two ways to win the world right now with globalization. Either you look like something like Silicon Valley, and thousands of people who claim that their community is Silicon Valley of the North, which is a horrible idea, or there's nothing. And the reality of globalization actually that you have multiple options, especially if you want to have local prosperity, meaning everybody wins, not just few. The last and the least is who actually does innovation. So, especially in Canada, you will see that we have a huge amount of policies that help almost everybody, apart from the two agents in the economy that actually innovate, which are individuals and companies. We give money to VCs, we give money to accelerators, we give money to universities. We forget that if companies don't change behavior, we will not have innovation in this country. I think it's important, again, that we understand what is innovation, what is not innovation, and why should we care. Okay, so innovation, as I said, it's the only way we should care because it's the only way to achieve and ensure sustained economic growth and human welfare. For example, we are talking because we somehow figured how to deal with COVID. Otherwise, it would be Zoom right now. However, that also tells you the difference between invention and innovation. So invention is coming up with new ideas. It's the act of coming up with ideas. Innovation is the act of putting ideas to come up with new or improved product and services, and it can be in all stages of production, from putting it to the world for the first time, to improving it, to making it more reliable, to combining it to come with better products, and at least as importantly, making it cheaper and accessible enough so every human can have access to that innovation, not just the billionaires. We are now stuck in a horrible equilibrium in Canada where we have the best research infrastructure, a huge amount of money, the most educated workforce in the world, and almost zero innovation in the private business sector. Therefore, we need to figure out this, what's technically called a market failure, and see why individuals and companies in Canada do not innovate if we want our children to have at least the same quality of life that we have now.
Hi, I'm Anna Lazarus, a Master of Public Policy student. My question is for Dr. Breznitz. In your book, you've clearly outlined the context and actors that make various stages of innovation possible. How can we make those types of innovation you describe in your book as attractive to policymakers as the Silicon Valley hyphens and tech hubs that innovation policymakers tend to focus on?
Well, thank you so much for your question. I think it's a critical one, especially for Canada. And let me focus on Canada. I think the main ways to make policymakers attuned to that fact is to talk about the impact in Canada it has on our middle class, and the fact that because our failure and our obsession with a Silicon Valley hyphen, our median wages have been stuck for over 46 years. Canadians work more than anyone else in the G7 apart from the United States and spend less time with their family. So if we care about the middle class, we must care about different stages of innovation. The second is, we claim we want to lead the world in green tech and become a green economy. In order to become a green economy, We must engage with new technologies in all levels. So without becoming innovative in all stages of production, not only will not become a green economy, we will become a lot poorer when finally, after everyone else is already green, we will become sort of greenish. So I hope that everyone actually goes to their policymakers and their elected officials and tell them that this is a critical issue and they must open their minds for our future. So first, because of this evening, I would like to thank the donor prize and the jury. Second, I would like to thank my editor and my publisher in Oxford University Press. I would also like to thank Andy McDonald, who helped me process through a book, and the thousands of interviewees all around the world that actually spent so much time with me. And Vivian and Sean, who after all those years basically not only introduced me to Cobalt, Ontario, but forced me to go over, sit down and start writing this book. And last but not least, to my family, who suffered through those probably 10 years of this process by not having me around and having me absent-minded when I was around. Big hugs to you all.
Innovation in real places. Strategies for prosperity in an unforgiving world. Written by Dan Breznitz. Published by Oxford University Press.